Hey there, Sart here. So I know I said I was done with Dark Visions, and I was, and then luck would have it, I just happened to pull a random Genesis with some tickets yesterday, and Genesis is extremely strong. He's a very good Dark Visions unit. He's a very strong fire magic damage unit, and so I couldn't give up the chance to build a team and throw him in there and see if I could get a better score. And I definitely did get a better score, as you can tell from my updated score. So here's the this is the best run I've had so far. That damage score you see there was a 22.5 billion burst turn. Probably won't see that on this run. That was a fairly high roll for everybody, for my team, but who knows? This team, in all my practice runs, I've at least done more than 20 billion with this team, so I'm comfortable in saying that this team can get you 20 billion or higher, potentially up to like 23 maybe. If everybody rolled high, we could do 23 bill. But anyways, this is the new team that I built. And so I spent most of the day yesterday just working with this team, tweaking it, optimizing it. The biggest headache is the chaining on the burst turn, and I'll talk about that when we get to it. It is a major headache for me personally, because I'm a finger tapper. I manually chain. I don't use auto clickers or macros or anything like that. So if you do use auto clickers or macros, it's probably a lot easier for you. But for me, it's a big headache. But anyways, this is the team. It's a full-on fire team. It's not the most optimal fire team. I'll go ahead and put that out there. The most optimal fire team would replace Esther with Cleome, with the Lunar Festival Cleome. I do not have Cleome, so Esther is going to come in. All right. If you want to see an optimal, the best fire team that the big rank people are going for, then I highly recommend checking out Resnaught's clear. So Resnaught put a couple of clears, a couple of different fire teams up on his channel that are definitely more optimal and are doing significantly more damage than my team is. But this is just the best that I can do. You see my Genesis is EX+1, so I did throw 2,200 Lapis for the 20 shards to get him to EX+1. All right, so even at EX+1, he's still extremely powerful as long as you have the right gear for him. I'll talk about the gear at the end, because there's a bit of RNG. If my chains break or something, I'll be pissed off, and I'll just, I'll probably swear quite a bit and have to do a re-recording. But anyways, so here's the team. I'm going to talk about the gear and everything in the end, and I'll kind of talk you through it and how we're going to get through this. So let's just go ahead and get in there, make sure we get it done, first of all. All right, first things first, Olive's going to do an LB. Go ahead and put a charge on her Magnus. We got to get that fully charged by next turn. All right, next thing, we will have Rosa do... Oh, we will not have her do that. All right, she's going to do Prayer of Vitality. Make sure you've upgraded it to level 5 for the full 10 LB fill. All right, and then Shelga, just in case the boss decides to do the AoE non-elemental magic attack on this turn. That'll just, because this is the only turn where Esther will not be omni-tanking. Okay. Lena is going to do Barfira for the fire buff for everybody. Alright, Genesis is just going to start singing. He's got Zidane's STMR. Alright, Esther starts in Brave Shift with her TMR equipped to proc her auto physical cover. Now she's going to come to normal and just do a normal attack, which does another 10 LB fill for the party. Alright, she's got double Blizzard Orb in a normal form too, so the boss needs to do at least one AoE physical. I believe it's called Wing Buffet. If the boss does not do any AoE physicals, I'm going to cancel out and come right back into the fight. So that's really the only RNG, besides the burst turn, of course. That's really the only RNG. If the boss has at least one of those to give us enough LB fill for Olive for next turn, then we're good. Alright, Rain's just going to do True Undermine for the breaks. All right, perfect. Wing buffet 1 should be enough. Hopefully Esther does enough counters. Awesome. Perfect. All right. So that should be close enough that that Rosa can finish filling that up. If it looks like she's not quite close enough to fill up with one prayer of vitality, then you might want to do a double prayer of vitality just to be safe. I think she's close enough to get it with 1. So I'm going to do 1 prayer and 1 Shelga because we've been dispelled, so we need to reapply all of our buffs and mitigations. Now, if if you need to use double prayer of vitality, that's fine. Esther's going to start omni covering. She can go 1 turn without the magic mitigation. She should still be fine, okay? But I think that this is going to fill her up. Almost. That's okay. I've got a backup just in case. I gave Rain Lion's emblem, so he can do Rallying Cry. You could also do Paws of Prosperity, which has a similar move that does LB fill for the party. I'm going to use Rallying Cry to finish topping up Olive. Olive can now do another LB. So now her Magnus is fully charged. All right, Esther is going to shift. All right, she's going to do Electromagnetic for the Omni cover, Boundless Stasis, Discharge, and Recharge. Okay, so the Discharge and Recharge is important for 2 reasons. 1, it's going to get rid of the Imperils on Esther. She's currently imperiled to all elements by 100%. We want to get rid of those. It's also going to give an opportunity for everybody to counterattack on this turn, which is most important for Olive, because Olive's normal attack does a perfect dispel on the boss. And the boss is going to put up a 100% fire resist buff on himself. We want to dispel that. Now, if he doesn't dispel it because the boss doesn't do any physical attacks, that's okay. Olive can just dispel it with a normal attack next turn. So don't be too worried if that doesn't happen. All right, Lena is going to do, this is turn 2, so we're going to do Hymn of the Faith Plus to put a mod boost on her Brave Shift LB. Or sorry, on her normal LB, because her normal LB is evocation damage. All right, so the boss did a wing buffet, so we'll definitely counter and remove the fire resistance buff. Okay. All right, so yeah, the fire resistance buff is gone. Perfect. If it wasn't, all right, if the boss decided not to do any physical attacks, because it's a bit random whether it does physical attacks or not. If it doesn't do any physical attacks, you won't get those counters. So in that case, just have Olive do a normal attack on this turn, and that's fine. Since we have dispelled it already, I'm just going to do Flaming Melons. All right, Rain is going to shift, put a stack on his Brave Shifted LB. Okay, make sure we're not doing any kind of chaining or anything here. You don't want to do too much damage. All right, you just don't want to go below 70%. All right, that's the big one. Do not go below 70%. All right, Esther can do Storm Guardian, Energizing Bunny, and Boundless Stasis. Before we do that, however, let's go ahead and have Rosa do. All right, now if you didn't do Shelga last turn, make sure you do your Shelga this turn. Since I already did Shelga, I'm good to go. So all I have to do this turn is True Glorious Rain of Arrows, because this does a 90% elemental buff across the board. Notice that it also does triple Mirror of Equity frames. We're going to use that on the burst turn. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. All right, Lena can go ahead and do her Brave Shifted LB, which does an 88% full break, as long as you have the crowns. So she does need to be fully crowned for that. Now Esther can go. Okay. So yeah, you can see with this team, like the damage score, there's absolutely no worrying about losing points on the damage score. But you just miss out on a significant amount of damage. Obviously, if I had Cleome, I would throw Cleome in Esther's spot for more damage, but I don't. So Esther will just shift and do Calm Before the Storm. That's just for the Great Sword in Peril. That's all it is. We're not going to use her LB. All right. Olive can come down and do fire cannon fire. All right, if you didn't use Flaming Melons last turn because you had to do a normal attack, then just do her quintuple cast, do a bunch of skills or whatever, and then do Flaming Melons and end with fire cannon fire for the mag store. Okay, Genesis is done singing, so he can get ready. He'll do Elemental Burst Fire for the amp, fill LB just for something to do, and then end with Loveless Preface, because this also does a mag store on it. Okay, so it does the 300% mag store buff on there. So that has to be the last thing you do. All right, Lena is just going to do Blessed Water for the to refill her LB. Rosa's going to go ahead and start dishing out some Reaper Killers to Rain and to Genesis. And Rain will do Infire Raga to imbue Esther and Rosa. He'll do Elemental Burst Fire for his amp. And Armor grant me the power to refill his LB. All right, now we're ready to kill this thing next turn. All right, and now Esther can counter as much as she wants. We don't care if we go below 70 because we're going to kill the boss this turn. And the big thing about not going below 70% is because if you do that, the boss will dispel you. So the boss actually has two thresholds, one at 70, one at 50. Passing either one of those thresholds will cause the boss to dispel your party. So keep that in mind. All right, so this is the moment of truth. I really hate chaining this. I've practiced it both in Dark Visions and in the Tower of Wind. And oh my god, I hate it so much. I hate chaining this so much. So Rosa's going to do the Reaper Killer on Olive, and then True Glorious Rain of Arrows for the triple Mirror of Equity. Olive does her LB. Lena does her normal form LB, which does the, as long as you put 2 crowns into it, it'll do a 25% fire imperil field and a 40% fire amp field for the party. Very, very nice. All right, Genesis will do his Ancient Epic Purgatory. This is why he is so strong, because this is very similar to the Meteor skills like Golbez and X-Death, where it uses your MP, your total MP, to generate the modifier. And yeah, it's extremely strong if you have Dazzling Demoness card, which I do, and so it becomes a very, very powerful move. Now, it is pure magic, and it is locked to fire. So unlike Golbez and X-Death, you cannot imbue it with any element you want. It has to be fire. But if you've got Flaring Ether Rain, he makes this a very, very strong option here. Now, it's only 1 hit, and it's fairly quick, so you don't want to send it too early. All right, so we're going to send it like about the middle of the chain. All right, Rain does his LB. Esther is doing Starpiercer, which comes from the most recent vision card that was on Dwayne's banner. It does the triple Mirror of Equity skill. If you have Lone Swordsman, that works too, because she can chain with Olive. But the Starpiercer card has higher attack, and I prefer to chain with Rain just to make sure that all of his hits get in the chain, because, you know, Rain is the priority over Olive here, because Rain's going to do significantly more damage. All right, but if you don't have the Starpiercer and you have Lone Swordsman, then use that and just use it to chain with Olive. Okay, so yeah, chaining these guys is a pain. So you start Lena so that the field goes into effect. You wait a second, tap Rosa, wait another second, and then send Olive, Rain, and Esther all in quick succession. Wait another second, and then send Genesis. So I have a bit of a cadence, you know. I practiced it in the Tower of Wind. I practiced it in, you know, this fight a couple of times just to try to get the timing right. And so, you know, I've got a little bit of a cadence where I go bum, 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 ba-dum. And so you'll kind of see how that goes. All right. So Lena first, then Rosa. Bum, 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 ba-dum. All right, I think I got everybody in there. Should be at least 120 hits. It's some, you know, depending on the timing, it's usually between 120 and like 125, Just depends on the timing. All right, 20.8. I'm happy with that. All right, we got it. We should have gotten everybody in the chain. If everybody rolled high, you know, that would be great. But I'm happy enough with that for the recording. You know, I'll leave it to you guys to go and just do damage variance rolls all you want. Okay. Let's see who the winners were. So yeah, Genesis hit the damage cap. So even at EX1, even at EX1, Genesis is like super strong. Now, of course, I have all the best gear on him, and so that makes a big difference. But yeah, you don't need an EX2 Genesis if you've got the right gear to hit the damage cap. Rain doing quite well there at 7.3. He's gone as high as 8 billion for me. Olive has gone as high as 4 billion on me. Esther has gone as high as, I think, like 700 million. Wow, Lena really, I think I must have missed a few hits on Lena. I probably missed the last hit on Lena there, because she usually does closer to like 500, 600 million on that hit. And then Rosa does like nothing, even though I geared Rosa to deal damage, she does like nothing, which is not surprising. But yeah, that's the damage spread. Like I said, if you had Cleome in there, Cleome would probably be adding like 4 billion to this, so that gives you an idea of how much more damage you can do with Cleome on the party. And obviously, if I had the timing a little bit better on my Lena, she would have done considerably more damage as well. But that's all right. I'm not gonna go in and re-record this. I've tried recording this one so many times. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. All right. So Esther, all right, in her normal form, double Blizzard Orb, gave her Cloud's Close for the TDH to finish capping up her TDH, and then I made her full evasion, I think, or at least she's close to it. Yeah, no, she's full evade. You know, that way you just don't take any physical damage that way. If you want to squeeze a little more damage out of Esther, you could make her just like 80%, or you could just go ahead and let her take some physical damage. She's very tanky as it is, so it probably won't really affect your damage score, but you could potentially improve your score a little bit there. There's the Star Piercer card, or the Star Rending Claws, that gives that Star Piercer ability, right? So I think she's maxed out on killers. You don't have to worry about LB damage because you're not using her LB, because you don't want to disrupt the fields. In her Brave Shift form, again, Blizzard Orbs, although it's not as important, Blizzard Orbs aren't as important in her Brave Shift form, but you do want her to be able to refill her LB, so she can use her abilities there. And then, yeah, just basic bulk and some elemental resists across the board. Make sure everybody is at least paralyzed. Actually, everybody needs to be paralyzed, confused, resist for this fight. So just make sure that those are taken care of. All right, Genesis. Here's my Genesis build. So I did use an STMR Moogle to get his STMR. That's Genesis' sword. I went full MP on that, so 45% MP on the sword. The big thing is the Prophet's Diadem of Will. So not a lot of people are probably going to get that upgrade, because most people would probably rather have the Dancer's Diadem or the Paladin's Diadem. But this one is definitely the best upgrade for Genesis and other Meteor units if you get the plus upgrade. It does have to be the plus. You notice that's the Diadem of Will plus, because if you do the plus upgrade on it, that's what gives you the 500 static MP and 50% passive MP. And that's what makes this very, very strong on Genesis. Genesis' coat, that's from the event that's going on. It's just nice because it gives him 500 static mag, which is really nice. All right, and then Magister's Signet, or the Magister's Ring there for the Chain Cat boost. Moogle Calligraphy, I think it might actually be a limited item. It could be from a Chronicle battle. I'm honestly not sure. It might be from a Chronicle battle. I should look that up. If you know, please let me know in the comments below if this is limited or not. I think it is, but it's nice because it comes with 50% Reaper Killer. and it has, you know, a decent mag stat on it. So that's what that's doing on Genesis there. And then, yeah, in his, for the materia, you got to make sure you cap up his TDH mag. So Seer of the Future there. Ghost Eater Sense is there for the Magic Reaper Killer. Cool Beauty for MP. And then, yeah, Zidane's STMR, of course, there to sing the song. And then Dazzling Demoness. You know, you could still use Olivera's Vision card, and that would still make Genesis very strong, even with Olivera's Vision card, but obviously Dazzling Demoness is the best in slot for him. As for his killers, he's only got 250. Make sure, you know, all of his killers are magic, so make sure it's Magic Reaper Killer. He's only 250, but as you can see, that was more than enough to hit the damage cap with everything else going on. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Genesis. All right. Rosa, as you can see, I tried to gear her for damage because that ability, that True Glorious Rain of Arrows, is a physical attack-based damage. So I tried to gear her for some damage. As you can see, it was nothing. She did like 14 million damage, which is literally nothing. So this is totally worth it. You can ignore all this gear. It's it was really just kind of a waste of gearing. Yeah. And by the way, your Rosa does not have to be EX1 or 2. She can be EX0. Perfectly fine. I can tell already I'm probably going to get asked what's a good substitute for Rosa. And so you can use Yuna. You can use either variant of Neovision Yuna. So like the Songstress Yuna has Reaper Killers in her kit, plus, you know, some good support skills in there. You can use the other Yuna, the Summoner Yuna. She also has Reaper Killer in her kit, and so you can use her as well. And then you can also use White Dragon Ling. White Dragon Ling has Reaper Killers in her kit. You're not going to find a 250% Reaper Killer, you know, nearly as strong as Rosa, with the exception of I know some people are using Mastermind Zahn to steal Ibarra's, the new Ibarra, to steal her self killer, because she has, you know, her limit burst has a 250% self buff to Reapers along with a lot of other races, and so people have been using Zahn to steal that and spread it to the party. That's the closest thing you're going to get to Rosa's level of killers. But yeah, those are just some options there if you don't have Rosa, but EX0 Rosa will work just as well. All right. Rain. So in his normal form, honestly, he doesn't really need anything. He just has to be status immune, or at least to paralyze and confuse. Lion Emblem is there for the for that LB fill for Olive, just in case she needs it. It's really just a backup. Most of the time she doesn't need it. You could also use Paws of Prosperity in that slot as well. Otherwise, he's basically naked in this form. In his Brave Shift form, full-on damage as much as I could stuff in there. The Magister's Ring could be an Emperor's Ring. I don't have enough Xenostones to actually buy the Emperor's Ring upgrade, so because I used those Xenostones to get the Prophet's diadem, so I don't actually have enough Xenostones to do the Emperor's Ring, but that's fine. It's just another extra 100 flat attack, which, I mean, sure, it'll do a little extra damage, but it's not going to make or break your team here. All right, so just as much attack as I could stuff in there. Warlord Leg Guards is great because it does 100 TDW, which is all you need to finish capping him up, which leaves all the materia slots open. You see I've given him 2 forms of chain speed or chain ramp. So this is Avalanche Tifa's TMR, just her TMR, which does, you know, the 100%. You can go up to 300% on the chain speed. And then I gave him Olivera's TMR, which does another 100%. That's very helpful on Rain because he's got to get all the way up to an 8 times chain cap. So starting, you know, with an extra 200% boost to the chain speed. So he's basically starting at 3x instead of starting at 1x when he starts the chain. So he doesn't have to go quite as much to reach his chain cap. That's what those are doing there. I Love Chocobos is there for the status resists. and then Undead Killer Plus just to finish capping up his Undead Killers. And then, of course, his own vision card because I have him EX3. If you don't have him EX3, just the best vision card you can throw in there. So he is full on Reaper Killers, LB damage, all that good stuff, and he is good to go. Olive is, Olive is also, you know, she's bringing some decent damage. Really, her 90% Spirit Break is what you want for Genesis. Okay, and so, but I did give her Regina's STMR. That's for the chain cap boost. So this is outside of the Clash of Wills gear. This is the only piece of gear in the game that does chain limit boost. Everything else is Materias. And so that's very, very useful on units like Olive. Yuna's necklace here is just for the LB damage because I needed to cap up her LB damage. Ruler's Regalia, just, you know, for... obviously in Dark Visions, you're just trying to EP-ing it out as much as you can. Lots of Reaper Killers to cap her up. Her own TMR is there mainly for the LB damage. And then I gave her Tsukiko's card, again, for the LB damage buff there. That's really all that's doing there so that I could... And I did that just so I could fit in more killers. All right, so she's got 300 Reaper, 300 LB damage. She is good to go. All right. All right, is that everybody? Nope, of course we've got Lena. All right, so Lena in her normal form, built for as much damage as I could stuff in there. So her STMR, which I moogled, we've got the Dark Vision Sword, Rydia's Headband, Lulu's Necklace, Silver Pendant, that comes from Dagger, Determined Dagger, that's her STMR. Okay. And then, yeah, she needs a lot to reach. Well, she needs Fryevia's TMR, first of all, to equip swords in the first place, and then she needs a lot to get her Mag TDH capped up. And then Originator of the Final Summoning for some Esper damage. And this is Dagger's Vision card, which is good because it gives 50% Esper damage and 50% Evo damage. So, and also 50% LB damage. So it's actually quite nice on Lena. So she is actually capped on all of that good stuff there. All right. And yeah, so that's the best that I could build her. As you can see, she didn't really do very much, although it wasn't really fair in the damage report. Like I said, she normally does between 500 and 600 million on that burst turn, but I think I just mistimed it. Like I said, the timing on that is just so, it's such a nightmare, such a nightmare. All right, in her Brave Shift form, since mine is only EX1, I needed to give her a lot of LB fill gear, so that's what the Dragon's Brush is doing there. Yuna's Necklace is there, of course, for the Whistle Promise, the upgraded Whistle, or sorry, Hymn of the Faith, to give her the mod boost to her normal form LB. Kryl Scrunchie is there for the status ailment resists. And then, yeah, you can see Call of the Wild Advanced Weaponry. I did all that for LB gauge fill, just to help her make sure she has her LB gauge filled by, I think, turn 3. That's when I use her LB. So it needs to be filled up by turn 3. So that's what all that gear is doing there in this form. And, yeah. And I think that's it. Yep, that covers everybody. All right, so, yeah, that's it. And that is... Now I think I'm officially done with Dark Visions. I'm not going back and rerunning this anymore, so I'm taking that score. That is as good as it's going to get. There's nothing coming up this week. You know, the news came out, and I think we're getting like another version of Reagan. We're getting another version of Soul, and neither one of those is going to make me want to rerun this at all if I happen to like off-banner one of those. So I am done with Dark Visions. I can start working on some other stuff. I know you guys have been asking for Flaring Ether Rain taking on the Grace of Lightning trial. I'll probably do that. I kind of want to take Rain and Genesis into Grace of Fire and just see if I can just murder those super quick. It'd probably be pretty quick to do that with Genesis, so I might try that and do that as well. But anyways, definitely some more content coming out to you guys later on this week. I'm done with Dark Visions now, officially. Wiping my hands, wash my hands of this thing. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me and following me, and I will see you on the other side.